How's everybody doing? It's Mr. Aaron from the House of Aaron, where I believe, we believe, they believe. And in this video, we're going to talk about the COVID gap. We're going to talk about the cost of childcare as well as the effect on children and in education. All right, so we're just going to get right into it. When you talk about the COVID gap, right? The COVID gap is going to cause some major issues out here when you're talking about social emotional, the how it's going to affect everyone socially and emotionally when it comes to the family, when it comes to education, and when it comes to the community. So when you're talking about the COVID gap and you're looking at the social emotional effect it has on the family, I don't know if you guys remember, but when COVID hit March, what was it, March 16th, in the state of Maryland, COVID affected everyone March 16th, 2020. A lot of people in the workforce were laid off, temporarily laid off, or had to get checks and everything else like that that was going on, especially in the field of childcare. And so it caused a lot of social and emotional stress out here. And it just kept going and other things, before people started getting the money, they said that increase of abuse, domestic abuse and child abuse had went up. Of course, because people are losing their job, their money. They don't know how the rent is going to get paid. They don't know where the food is going to come from. So all those things are taking place when it came to the beginning of the COVID gap. And now it's COVID fatigue. It's going the other direction. That people are tired of what's going on. I mean, we're about to go into season 3, almost 3 years into COVID now. And so that has a big effect on the family. A lot of loved ones have been lost. You can only imagine how many children were left orphaned from their parents passing away from COVID. I know friends personally who went through that, and it's not a good thing, not a great thing. So when you talk about the next part, which is education, COVID has turned education on top of its head, with everyone doing virtual learning, with the Google Classrooms that everybody was using, and it was another group of people who suffered very greatly outside of the early education field and the child care. People with special needs have suffered a lot as well. And so that COVID gap was really big. It's caused a big gap and caused a big social emotional in the family as well as in education and then the community. I remember there was a time that your neighbor had your key for the BG&E guy. Neighbors talked more frequently. Kids in the neighborhood played a lot differently back then. Now, like my children, they meet up with their friends on video, Zoom, or whatever they're using here with FaceTime and things like that, and they playing like games virtually. So we used to be out. We used to be outside and doing everything while these children are sitting behind computer screens and on the keyboards and on tablets and phones and everything like that. So it definitely took away a sense of community because these children could talk virtually as opposed to, oh no, before you go by that person's house, I need to go talk to their mom and dad. And so times have changed. Times have changed, and the world is not as accessible as it used to be in that regard. Because our children are now doing things that we didn't do as children. So as children, we ran outside. We definitely were at our friends' houses and going to go wake people up and things of that nature. So that's just one of the things. The next thing that was on the list was the cost of childcare, right? We could go much deeper into all these subjects, but I'm just trying to get some of these things down. I got my notes right here. Just trying to hit a little bit of them at a time to keep this video short, as I could go on and on talking about these things. So, cost of childcare. Cost of childcare is crazy, especially if you don't know if the parents are working or not. Parents can't always work because COVID, obviously. There's a lot of COVID protocols that change every week, every day, every minute. Who knows how often they change? I think they're all winging it. And so you have that cost of childcare. And if the parents are working, and some parents don't have a choice. They got to do what they have to do or to work to keep bills paid, to keep food on the table. And for some of our families, they probably working to pay for childcare. So you have one parent working to pay for childcare and one person to handle all the rest of things for living. And so the working parents is a big reason that the cost of childcare is affecting families. Some people want to stay home and take care of their children. Some people want to care for their children. Their work schedules is too demanding, or the essential workers. You know, some of the nurses and doctors doing 3 or 4 days on, or 3 or 4 day, 5 to 6 days at the hospital, and then 3 days at home. Things like that. And so, working parents are under a lot of stress when it comes to this cost of childcare. Working parents are uh, not only the cost of childcare, but also childcare shortage. A lot of COVID children were made. A lot of COVID babies, or the COVID connection babies, is what I call them. A lot of them have been made and filling up all kinds of childcares. And now, like most places, are out to 2023 when it comes to the infant wait list. And so, cost of childcare is definitely going to be at a rise, especially with all these children coming in a big flux. It's going to be similar to the baby boomers. And so, the next thing on that, when you talk about the cost of childcare, is the teacher shortage. It's not a secret. There's a shortage of teachers out here on all levels of education, and with the shortage of teachers going on, uh, you, it's a hit or miss when you come into these things. That knowing some of the backgrounds, knowing how long some people been in the field, that's going to be a big factor. And then people are trying to make up for a loss. And when you're talking about making up for loss, they want more money, and it just doesn't exist right now. As yes, there's more people and more children in the child care, but the cost is going up. And then everyone trying to recover, and then there's teachers who don't want to come back. So the high quality teachers, they know this field is a low paying field, and they find other things to do, especially in the beginning of the year or at the end of the year when there's seasonal hiring going on. Amazon is going to pay you $15 an hour to do something that's not involving changing pampers and things of that nature. And so you're going to get way more money being somewhere else than you would being a child care provider, for say. And so you have that teacher shortage that's going on, that they don't want to return to work because they also have a fear of catching COVID and things of that nature. And so you just have to be aware of these things when you talk about the effects of childcare, the effects of COVID, and creating a COVID gap. That now you have high schoolers working, and people who have less teaching experience working, and it's just going to have a long term effect because we already have that issue going on before COVID even came to be, which leads us to the effect on education. The effect on education was the next point. The effect on education, that COVID gap is causing major delays in our young people. And so you have that delay plus the social emotional factor that these children have been cocoa meloned out. There's no human interaction when you're watching cocoa melon all day and watching YouTube all day. I mean, we're watching YouTube or making this for YouTube, but those things are coming to factors with our children that is causing them social delays, emotional delays, educational delays. So many delays is coming out of this COVID thing for the children because parents got to work, trying to especially if you have multiple children, trying to homeschool, trying to virtual learn, trying to work virtually. All those things come into factor, and it's a tough thing to juggle here. And so that's a big act, and that effect on the children is deep. It's going to be deep, and it's just going to continue to broaden when you talk about the COVID gap. So not only, I don't know if you guys understand that not only will the delays happen in education due to people being home and people being distracted and people being overworked, the next effect on the children is that an effect on childcare, the resources does not exist. And so it's a lack of resources because people don't want to come, don't want to work. There's a lack of resources because those products are just not there anymore. And it's so much that the school have to pay for to supplement and make things happen that, like I said, it all affects the bottom line cost of childcare. Many places, businesses have folded due to COVID. And so that lack of resources, whether it be for educational resources for our special needs friends, whether it be early childhood education resources, like the infant toddler programs and things that exist for our friends. Uh, we just have to chalk it up because long term, our children who cannot go to early education program, they're getting raised by grandma or pop or whatever nickname you use for those new retirees. They're they're there, and the children are going to know more about Days of Our Lives and General Hospital than they actually know about 1, 2, 3 ABC, or they're going to just watch Coco Melon and everything else all day, and therefore they're not getting that foundation of education that a great education program provides. And so those resources, good or bad, will affect all populations, not just the rich, not just the poor, not just special needs, but all people are going to be affected by the things that are going on with this COVID gap. So, do have one small solution for you guys, right? One small solution. The rest of it is going to take time. It's going to take some kind of masterminds or anything. It's going to take a panel of people that's going to have to focus on one thing at a time. But when it comes to that gap in education, I will recommend because I mean I made it. Of course, the routine that's going to be out there, which we're going to get more in depth on other videos. It's just a program. It helps it programs the children. It's the routine that happens. You do it at least 3 times a week. Your child will be prepared for when it's time to go to school. It puts you in the mindset to say, hey, I can learn. And not only can I can learn a lot of things and I can learn it efficiently, and it teach them how to learn that they could get the confidence that they can learn anything and everything that the teacher gives them, right? And so with that being said, as we're going to make our way down now, like I said, I want to keep this video pretty short. We get into the point that the routine is going to be out there. It's going to be posted probably on the website for sale. Just working on some other things with it. I can't remember how many slides it is now. There's a whole bunch of slides on it, as it has like and a whole bunch of things that's not in the slides. And so outside of that, we will be hosting some events as well. And so we're looking to do some virtual events, that we do some read alouds and things like that. It's going to also be some in-person events as well going on. We'll keep people updated on that. But we wanted to start doing some more things to get our children ready and have them exposed and have them try to meet up with other friends and have open conversations and bring some resources to the table, whether it be preparing for college. You have to prepare for college now, even if your child is 2 years old, 2 months old. You have to start preparing. So we're going to bring in some people and get some resources, have some things coming out for you guys in the future. And so on the next video, we're going to give the inside look to the routine. I'll go through a lot of the slides so you can see exactly what's going on. May even do the intro for you guys. So just be on the lookout. I thank y'all. Like I said, I want to keep this short. Thank you all for paying attention to the video today or watching it this far. And as always, I thank you for learning with Mr. Aaron. Thank you for learning with Mr. Aaron and staying committed to family, education, and community. And so with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next video. Under 15 minutes. There we go. And you guys have a great one.